Appreciate everybody being here again. Very appreciative of the effort that you guys make coming over here. So, like always, I'm not going to talk about last week unless you guys want to. Moving forward, our first conference game with FAU this week is obviously it's a critical game. It's your first conference game for both of us. So we finished up, the preseason at 2-2. And now it's time to get going here in conference play. So FAU is 1-3. They got beat by Navy, Wisconsin, and Buffalo, and beat Bethune-Cookman. I've always felt that FAU is one of the more talented teams in the conference, and this year is no doubt the same. They've got really athletic guys at all the positions, especially the skill positions. They can run. They're always going to be a good-looking football team when you come out there and play. They're running the ball really effectively this year, with Kendall Briles being their offensive coordinator coming from Baylor. That's kind of what Baylor's MO has always been. They want to run the ball and then hit you over the top with big plays. So we've got to play really sound, disciplined football on the defensive side. Their tempo is really fast. I said last year Missouri was the fastest tempo team that we'd ever gone against, and it looks like on film that FAU is going to be able to compete with that tempo. So we got to get our plays in, our play calls in. We got to see it. We got to get lined up, and we got to play fast on defense to handle that. Offensively, them defensively, they're big up front and they can run, and they've always been that way. So they're doing a good job of stopping the run, and they're playing, on the back end. Their stats are a little misstrued a little bit because playing Navy that first game, they didn't see many balls thrown at them. But their secondary is really good, and they're good in the kicking game again. I think they're 4 out of 4 on field goals, so they're really sound in the kicking game. And so this is a great challenge for us. Obviously, it's probably going to be hot and humid down there, so we got to be able to handle that and adjust to it. And I think I have no doubts that we'll be able to do that. So this is going to be a tough, hard-fought game. Again, every conference game, most conference games are, and this has every bit of the makings of being a tight ball game. So, last year it was a scoring fest on both sides of the ball. We scored a bunch and they scored a bunch. And so I know both defenses are going to be motivated, to put a better product on the field than we did last year in that game. So I'll open it up to you guys.
Coach, like you said, they have gone against some power running teams, especially Navy. But statistically, they are pretty bad against the run. How do you evaluate a team that's gone against teams like that and how they look statistically?
I don't, because it can be misleading in a lot of ways. And, you look at Bowling Green last year rushed for 300 yards against us. Yesterday or day before, they rushed for 1. So every team is different. Every opponent you play is different. Navy probably ran the ball 70 out of 80 snaps, so when that happens, you're going to get some yardage put up against you. Wisconsin is a big power running football team, so every team's different. Buffalo got a lot of yards rushing yesterday or Saturday out of the quarterback. They had a lot of predetermined quarterback runs, and so everybody's different. So we're a different running team than what Navy is, what Wisconsin is, what Buffalo is. So I think they're a lot better defensively against the run than what statistically it shows.
Coach, just your thoughts on facing Lane Kiffin and how their team looks different with him leading the program?
I don't get into Lane Kiffin and all that stuff. We're playing FAU, and I'm not playing, Lane's not playing. We both got to prepare our teams to play well, and that's my objective this week.
As far as Brent, Richie, Chandler, any sort of update with those guys?
You know, probably the same. Eric, you know, they didn't go yesterday, you know, so that'll give them, you know, yesterday off, today off. We don't practice, and have a better idea tomorrow when we practice. But I'm not, you know, it's probably going to be the same thing. It's going to be a, you know, a game time, you know, later in the week before we really know.
Coach, with you guys kind of finding your running game last week, it seemed to help out quite a bit on third downs. I believe you guys went 8 of 12. From a coaching standpoint, were you guys able to kind of open up the playbook a little bit more on third downs, being in better situations?
No, and you're right on point on everything you said. But you know, we go into every game, you know, with the whole smorgasbord. You know, we're not holding anything back. So everything's available in the playbook. But you're exactly right. When you can run the ball, it just gives you a better chance to be successful in everything you do. It helps you. Obviously on third downs, first down, you know, we were able to run the ball more effectively, you know, which puts you in third and short situations. And then, you know, you look at the second half, especially the fourth quarter, you know, I think we ended up with 34, 35 minutes of, you know, time of possession for the game, you know, so we managed the clock really well and kept our defense off the field, kept them fresh when they came on there, especially the second half. So you can't do that unless you can run the ball, and we were able to do that. So it was really good to finally see.
Does your plan change any with Richie and Brent knowing it's a conference game?
No, sir. If they could have played last week, they'd have played. If they could have played at Minnesota, they'd have played. You know, every game is critical. Every game is important. Conference games are ultimately the most important. But we're trying to win every game. And as soon as we can get everybody back, you know, we'll play those guys.
I know John played last year, but with the last two games, have you seen him kind of grow? How are you seeing him grow in the last two games going into this week?
Yeah, you know, he played, you know, better today. Yet I keep saying Saturday, than he did against Minnesota, and hopefully that'll continue as he plays more. You know, he got a lot more work this August, this spring, obviously, than he did the year before. And so I think he's getting more snaps in practice, which will enable him to be successful on Saturdays. But he is getting better. He did some boneheaded things out there Saturday, but he did a lot of good things also. And so he's just got to continue to get better each week, each day, and I think he'll do that.
Coach, you guys are -7, I think, in the turnover battle. How do you turn that around here?
Well, it makes you sick as a coach, especially. You know, it's what I pride myself on, or we pride ourselves on, of being a good ball security team. And you know, we haven't won the turnover battle in any of these first 4 games, and you know, if you say that, it'd be hard to say that you'd won 2 of them, because that doesn't happen, you know, that often. So we've got to do a better job. You know, obviously you'd like to create more on defense than we've created, but you know, that's really out of the defense's hand. You know, you gotta, you know, if you get an interception, you got to make it. If you got a chance to get a fumble, you know, you got to get it. But you know, if the offense does a good job of not putting the ball on the ground, you know, not putting the ball in harm's way, throwing the ball, then it's hard for defenses to get turnovers. So, it goes back to about us and controlling what we can control, and we've got to be smarter with the ball. And you look at all those 3 turnovers that we had Saturday, you know, we muffed a punt, you know, fumbled a punt, you know, and we throw a bad interception. We have a fumble on a quarterback run exchange, you know, 3 things that are really the defense didn't force us to do. And, you know, so we've got to do a better job of protecting the ball. And you know, that's, you know, a really disappointing stat where we're at right now.
Coach, how is the non-conference schedule different than the conference schedules as far as the goals your team wants to pursue this year?
You know, we don't get a conference championship by going 4-0 out of conference. That's the only thing that's different. We want to win every game. Our mindset, our focus is, you know, to win. You know, you only get 13 opportunities, and you want to win every one of them. So we wanted to beat Vanderbilt just like we want to beat FAU. We want to beat Syracuse like we wanted to beat FAU. We want to beat, you know, so that doesn't change. You know, you're not going to look at it and say, hey, it's okay to lose this game, but it's not okay to lose that one. Each game, yeah, there's more to lose when you lose a conference game as opposed to a non-conference game, but you're still trying to win every game you play.
Rick, you got asked about Lane Kiffin a little earlier. It seems like in this state especially, there's sort of a fascination with him. You have any theory on why Lane Kiffin gets talked about in college football the amount that he does?
Yeah, but probably shouldn't say it here.
Oh, we won't tell anyone.
Yeah, I bet. No, I don't know. I mean, you know, he's had some high-profile jobs, and you know, has been the center of a lot of attention. I'm going to stay away from it.
Were you surprised to see him end up at FAU?
Not really. You know, when you're a head coach in the NFL and the head coach at an SEC school, and then you had the success that you had at Alabama, you know, you're going to get an opportunity. So I really wasn't surprised.
When you get prepared for your defense to handle an imaginative offense as he's had in the past, is that any additional challenge that you face this week going against an offensive mind like his that he gets credit for?
No, I mean, you know, we've seen just about everything that you can see, you know, offensively. You know, from a formational standpoint, what Vanderbilt did with the personnel groupings, and then going to Syracuse and the spread formations and the intricacies of their passing attack that we saw, and then, you know, Bowling Green last week with their personnel groupings, and then how big Minnesota was and what they did. So we've seen it all, and I'm sure there's going to be a formation or a play that, you know, that we haven't seen yet that we've got to be prepared for, but that's every week. You know, offenses are going to try to scheme to have success against, you know, your defense, whatever you're doing, what they think will give them an advantage. So, you know, I don't think they're going to throw anything at us that is going to catch us off guard.
You said it doesn't matter if you're 4-0 heading into conference play, that's not going to win you a conference championship. But how good do you feel about your team, given the injury situation you've faced, to get through those first 4, 500, pretty impressive, nice win at Syracuse, and then coming off a win on Saturday? I feel really good about it. That's a great question, because I really, and I've told our team, you know, I told her after Minnesota that I was disappointed but not discouraged. And this team has done nothing but make me proud of how they've played. We haven't always played perfect, but we play with extreme effort. We play hard, and to come out of this schedule, you know, these first 4 with 2 wins, you know, we're right in the mix of everything. Everybody else in the conference, San Antonio is the only team that's got 3 wins. Everybody else has got 2 or 1, and, you know, a couple of them have got 0. You know, so we're right in the mix of things. I feel really good about this team going forward. We just got to get healthy. If we can get healthy and get all our guys out there, you know, then,
we got a chance to do some special things. And if they don't, I still believe in this team that we can do some special things.
Coach, you've seen some pretty great running backs come through here in your time, guys like Philip Tanner and Benny Cunningham, Itavius Mathers. Although it's early in his career still, after what you saw from Brad Anderson, would you say that he's definitely got the potential to kind of live up to that and be one of the next great running backs to come through here?
Ooh-wee. That's hard to say after one game. Brad had a really good game. He played hard. He ran hard. Did a lot of good things. I think he's got a chance to be a really, really good player for us. Whether he becomes, an NFL player, because those three, Philip played in the NFL for 5 years. Benny's still in the NFL. Itavius had a chance to play in the NFL till he got hurt. You're talking about some special people there. So we'll hold off, another game or two before we say that. But he's a good player.